and welcome to Tuesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic on a roasting hot day here in the UK. And we have a very colourful puzzle for you today called Wild Berry Pop-Tart by Genuinely. And this, I'm smiling about this actually because I wasn't sure whether there was such a thing as a wild berry Pop-Tart, but I typed it into Google and there definitely is, and it looks exactly the same as the puzzle. Look at this. The colours are absolutely spot on. So we have a real wild berry Pop-Tart, which actually looks quite delicious, and the Sudoku version. This puzzle, by the way, is meant to be absolutely brilliant. A couple of our testers had a look at this and they said it is a beautiful, beautiful puzzle. Not just beautiful to look at, not just beautiful to taste, but also beautiful to solve. So I'll read you the rules of this one in just a second or two. A couple of things to mention first. Let me start by saying that, as I mentioned yesterday, somehow, some way, this channel is closing in on 500,000 subscribers. That is 500,000 people who've watched one of our videos and thought, actually, that was good enough that I will subscribe. And that, I know that's a high bar. I mean, we all know that's a high bar. How many channels do we subscribe to? I mean, it is just gobsmacking. Thank you so much if you're one of those people who enjoy our content enough to hit that subscriber button. We really do appreciate it. And we've been talking about how we can say thank you. And we've got a couple of ways that we're going to be doing this. Let me explain. So one of them is about our book. This is the book. This is the Cracking the Cryptic's Greatest Hits. It came out a while ago. It is absolutely beautiful. It is chock full of the most beautiful Sudoku puzzles you will ever find. And there's even little biographical pages about Mark and me, which are amusing, I think. Anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to offer the remaining copies that we have of the book at a discount. So just if you're interested in getting the book, and it is, I promise you, it's the best Sudoku book you will find anywhere. And if you're interested in getting it, then there is a coupon code in this video description. So just click on the video description. You'll find a whole load of stuff, including a link, obviously, to the puzzle on the screen. And you'll find a coupon code that you can use to get $5 off the book. So definitely check that out, especially if you thought about getting the book and for some reason you haven't. Now is the time. But strike now while the iron's hot, because we don't have that many copies left. Now the other thing we're going to do to say thank you is really cool as well, and this got even cooler yesterday. We're going to be releasing a completely free Sudoku app full of handcrafted puzzles by some of the great and the good of the Sudoku community. This is going to be amazing. It's going to come out on the App Store, on Android and on Steam, and it's going to feature puzzles by people like Fistamafel, Codec, Clover, Jovial, Sam Kappelman-Lyons, and yesterday I heard from Shy, Zetamath, Toolcat, Mr. Menace. So it's just going to be amazing. It's going to be full of amazing puzzles, and when we hit 500,000 subscribers, and I think we will, I think we're on 493,500 at the moment, but once that happens, we'll release the free app, and we just want to do that to say thank you for making this incredible community that we have, which I said this yesterday. We're very proud of it because I think it's one of the corners of the internet that genuinely is full of people who are in the main kind and clever and using the internet for what it should be used for. So yeah, thanks very much if you're one of those people, and we hope that you get to see this app, obviously, and it won't be too long before it's released. Now, I don't have any birthdays to do today, actually, so why don't we just kick straight into our wild berry Pop-Tart, and I will read you the rules of Genuinely's puzzle. They are as follows. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Digits along purple lines are a set of non-repeating consecutive digits arranged in any order. So imagine that this cell was a 9. Now, if that cell's a 9, we immediately know that this purple line, because it has to contain consecutive digits, and they can't repeat, this line must be full of the digits 9, 8, 7 and 6, and we just have to work out the order after that, so it could be something like that. That would be a potential way of filling in that purple line. Now, what about the blue lines? digits on blue lines have the same sum in each region they pass through. Now by region it means each box, each 3x3 box. I might actually clarify that before I put the link under the video, assuming I can solve this puzzle. So let's look at this blue line here. So what it's saying is that those 3 digits, which are the only digits on the blue line in box 2, you add them up and they should equal the same as those 3 digits. It's a terrible colour choice, so it's grey. So the yellow digits sum to the same as the grey digits. Let's look at this one. This is a bit more complicated. Look, those 2 cells will sum to the same as those 2 cells will sum to the same as those 2 cells. So that's how the blue lines work. Hopefully that's clear. Do have a go at the puzzle. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. Now I get to play Let's Get Cracking. And my eyes are immediately drawn to some quite lengthy purple lines in the puzzle. So this one is 6 cells long. And therefore, if we think about that, we know 3 of the digits on this purple line already. We don't know where they go, but we do know there's definitely 3 digits on that. And the way to think about that is to imagine the digits 1 to 9 lined up in front of you. And imagine you're going to take a cut of 6 consecutive digits. Well, however you make that cut, you'll always find the digits 4, 5 and 6 within the sequence that you get. Another way of thinking about that is if you start from the digit 1, which would be the lowest possible digit on this line, and you go and you fill it with 6 digits, you'll obviously get the digits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 on the line. Whereas if you started with the digit 9 on the line, then it would go 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 instead, and you can see you've always got the 4, the 5 and 6 in both versions. So there is definitely a 4, 5 and a 6 on this line. Now, it just occurs to me though that it might be better to not think about that in the context of this line and instead to think about geometry. Because this line, oh in fact, hang on, let me just pause there for a moment. Okay, that is something I should have pointed out in the introduction, but I hadn't actually appreciated it was quite as profound as it is. Look at the symmetry of this puzzle. By which I mean, if you imagine that this grid was rotated 180 degrees, you can see that every line maps onto itself, or it just changes colour. That's the only difference. So this line, if you rotate the grid 180 degrees, you land on those cells. And all that's happened is that that line has changed to being blue. This line, rotate the grid 180 degrees, you get those cells, and they're purple. So there is an awful lot of symmetry in this puzzle. So geometry is likely to be very important. It's just going to be broken by the 2 and the 8s in the corner. That's very weird and highly, highly impressive setting. But let me come back to what I was noticing about the geometry of this line, which is that this line causes something rather beautiful to happen, doesn't it? Because we can think about where those digits there go in box 8. Now they can't repeat in the same row they're already in, so they're not in those cells, and they can't repeat on the Ren band because of the rules of the Ren band, the rules of the purple line, which says no repeating digits. So that digit, for example, clearly cannot be in any of these 3 cells. So these 3 digits must go down here, and the moment you get this pattern in a Sudoku, then you have something called roping going on, which is really powerful. So if you're not familiar with roping, think about the implications of this for these 3 rows, because it's pretty profound. Because we can now ask where the green cells are in this box, and they've got to go in those cells by Sudoku. But now, if I highlight these cells, I don't know what's going to be a good colour, maybe I'll go grey actually. Where do these digits now go in box 8? Well, these digits are not green, so they can't go there. They can't go in the same row they're already in. So those 3 digits go there, and therefore they go there in box 7. And now these 3 digits have to go here and here in these boxes. So you get this sort of Neapolitan ice cream effect, where every 3 digits sort of repeats in consecutive boxes. And that means, well, what does that mean in the context of, oh, I'll tell you one thing it means. It means this Renban has become slightly, no, quite a lot more restricted, because now we know 8 is a grey digit. 8 is in one of those 3 cells. 8's up here as well, but the interesting one is 8 on this Renban, which now, before, when we just thought about this Renban in isolation, we knew it had a 4, 5, and 6 on it. Now we know it's got an 8 on it, so it must also have a 7 on it. So now this Renban has 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 definitely on it, and the other digit is going to either be a 3 or a 9, depending on other things that we don't know yet. So 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. I'm tempted. No, I'm not. I was thinking about filling in the options for this, but I think that is overkill. It does mean there's no 1 and there's no 2 on this purple line. It actually does restrict these digits, believe it or not, because those, and it's the same for these digits, but these orange digits in those 2 boxes see the entirety of that Renban. So imagine you tried to put a 4 in this cell. You can't do it, because now you can't put a 4 on the purple cells anywhere, whereas we know there's a 4, we know there's a 5, 6, 7 and 8. So these orange cells now have to be from 1, 2, 3 and 9, I think, because they can't be from 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Okay, maybe that's not what we're meant to do, because that doesn't seem to be, well, it's sort of giving us a couple of openings on these blue lines, but not in a way that I see is restricted. This Renban line, okay, well this Renban line is 7 cells long, I've just realised, so it's even more restricted than this one. But perhaps this is the point, because that little cell there, let's make that blue for a moment, that sees the whole of this Renban line. So whatever you put it, if you try and put a 5 in there, you now can't put a 5 on that Renban line, and it would therefore be broken, because this is a sequence of 7 consecutive digits, and therefore has to include a 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 on its line somewhere. So this cell cannot be 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 or 2 or 8. That cell is a 1 or a 9, which is fairly surprising. Oh, okay, well, fairly surprising at least in isolation. I suppose not that surprising in the context of what we'd already worked out about orange in boxes 7 and 8. Okay, I have a horrible feeling this is not how I meant to start the puzzle. It doesn't seem, it's fascinating and it's really beautiful, but it doesn't seem to do anything. I know there's a 7 in here. That's the effect of this. No, maybe we've got to look for other things here. Now, one thing I'll say is I'm not very interested in that line, for example, because although it's quite a lengthy line, all we know about this is that those 3 digits add up to the same as those 3 digits, and there's an awful lot of latitude. Unless we knew these were the same digits, which they could be, that would cause roping in the top 3 rows, which would be powerful. No, hang on, here's something. What about this line? That's an equal sum line. Yes. Right, yes, this is better. This is better. Let's have a look at those 5 digits. Let me just highlight them. So what do these sum to? And the answer is we don't know, or at least I don't know. You might know, but I don't know. But I can tell you the minimum sum of those yellow cells, and that would be 15. Because if I put 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 in yellow, the triangular number for 5 is 15, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. Now that means those two cells have to add up to 15 or more, but they can't include an 8. So they can't, well, 7 and 6 do not add up to 15. There is a knowledge bomb for you from Cracking the Cryptic. So there must be a 9 in there, and it must be a 9 with at least a 6. So it's either 6, 9 or 7, 9 in this domino. And that means that these yellow cells are actually very restricted. Because what can they be? Well, if this is 9, 6, these have to be 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And if this is 9, 7, 16 in 5 cells has to be 1, 2, 3, 4 and 6. So these cells always have 1, 2, 3 and 4 in them. Oh, Mark will love this. I'm going to go full pencil mark on those cells just because that does feel like it's very restricted. No 2 in these cells. And also look, there's something going on with these 3 cells now, because those 3 cells have to be, well, yeah, because, oh no, maybe not actually, 6. Ah, no, it is true, but not for the reason I first thought. Okay, let's think about where these 3 cells, these 2 and that one, go in this box. And I think they have to occupy those 3 cells exactly, because even if this is 9, you can see if this is 9, 7, because we can't put 7 on this line, the 7, 8 and 9 would have to go in those 3 cells. But if this is 9, 6, because these add up to 15, there's no 6 on this line. So 6, 9 and 8 would have to go in those 3 cells. So these cells are always from 6, 7, 8 and 9, and they always have to, because we know there's a 9 and we know there's an 8 in column 1, those cells have to include 8 and 9 for sure. And now that cell looks difficult to me. Because that cell, let's just highlight that for a moment, this cell sees the whole of this Renban line. Yes, that's beautiful. It's beautiful. What on earth can you put in that cell? Because the way to think about this is to say, we know that there is a 9 and an 8 in 2 of these 3 cells. That means that there must be a 9 or an 8 or both in these 2 cells. That means that this Renban line definitely contains an absolute plethora of high digits, because even if it's only got 8 on it and not 9, it's still got 8, 7, 6, 5 and 4. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 and 3. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 and 3. So it has lots of high digits, but if it's got 9 on it, it's got 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 on it. But this digit cannot appear on the Renban line at all. And that is a problem. It's certainly, if you put 9 in one of those 2 squares, there is simply no fill for this square, because whatever it is will wipe itself out of a Renban line that needs to contain the very thing that is in this cell. So the only way this is going to work is if that is a 9, thereby ruling 9 out of this Renban, but that's okay, because we can have 8 on the Renban and every lower digit than 8, and that cell then won't break the Renban. So that is beautiful. And now no. So now I have to, do I have to do it? I might have to do this actually. It's such a massive restriction, I think I have to do it. I know one of these is an 8, because we know that 8 in this box is definitely in this triple, and we now worked out it's on the line. So these cells, which have to be selected from 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, now only have the options of being 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Okay, I think that's doing something, but I don't know what it is. Is Is that doing anything? Oh, I've just noticed that I can get... Oh no, I can't get 9 because I don't know whether there's a 9 in there. That could be a 1, 2, 3 triple. Bobbins. Right, that can't be 9. That can't be 9. And 9 is in one of those 3 cells in box 7. What's this digit? Maybe that's the point I'm meant to be thinking about. So that digit can't be 1, 2, 3 and 4 because we know that they're on this blue line. And it can't be 8 or 9. How do we do this? So if this is 9, 7, then I have to put a 5 in box 1. That has to go there. If this is 9, 6, then there's a 5 on the line. There's a 6 here with an 8, so that becomes a 7. Oh, that's strange. I thought that was... For some reason, I thought that would be restricted in a different way to that. That is 5 or 7 in the top left. So if that's 7, we'd have a quadruple in column 1. Okay, I don't know how to do that. Right, so what have we actually learnt here? We have learnt that... oh, please, I don't want to look at this one. We've got... Oh, for goodness sake, Simon. Right, okay. Well, I want to look at those cells now. Because I've just realised that I don't see black numbers in grids anymore. I just don't see them. I've conditioned my brain to ignore them because I get given them so rarely. So I see blue numbers better because blue numbers feel like I've earned them. Whereas black numbers, they just bypass me. But this black number is massive, isn't it? Because those digits are on an equal sum line and they can't include 1. So the minimum they can sum to is 14 with 2, 3, 4 and 5. And if these are 14, that means this domino adds up to at least 14 and it can't include a 9. So it must include an 8. And it's either 8, 6 adding to 14 or 8, 7 adding to 15. Which means that these digits they're either exactly equal to 2, 3, 4 and 5, or they're 2, 3, 4 and 6. Oh, right, this is cool though, because now, what are these digits? And the answer is I don't know exactly, but I do know there is now a 9 on this Renban in this box. So if there's a 9 on the Renban, I'm going to do it. I'm breaking the habits of a lifetime. 987654. Right, so this is a 987654 Renban. And we know that this is okay. I can improve on this a bit because the 9, 8 and the 7 have to be on the Renban in box 5. So they can't repeat there, look. So these come down to 4, 5 or 6. Yes, and I know... no, I can do better than this as well, because I know this has got 2, 3 and 4 on it, this blue line, so there's no 4 in those cells. Oh, so it's starting to look less higgledy-piggledy, isn't it? It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Okay, alright, Tyrganus is now flexing his Sudoku muscles in our presence. Right, let's look at the geometry of this line now. Let's pick a particularly pretty colour to do this with. We will pick the pretty colour of... I'm running out of pretty colours, actually. I'll just make it purple for a second or two. But, look at these digits here. Look at these 2 digits in the context of this line, where we know that this line contains 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. Well, these blue digits see the entirety of this line. They see these in their row and these in their box. So these 2 digits cannot be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9, and that means they have to be 2, 3, which means that these 2 squares become 4, 5 and 6. Oh. Okay, yeah, and I suppose that makes sense actually. So now so now let's get rid of the colouring here. Because now, let's look at this purple line again. Yeah, these two digits, whatever these two digits are, they have to find a home in this box. Now they can't repeat on their line, so they can't go in those cells. They're not equal to 1 and they're not equal to 2 and 3. So those two squares and those two squares are repeated digits. I'm going to have to find a better colour because I can't really see the purple against the purple. I don't have... The luxury of blue is going to break the blue here, so maybe I'll make these cells. Or maybe I could get rid of the yellow. I'm going to get rid of the yellow in this box. And I'll use yellow. So those cells are the same. I've got a 6, 7, 8, 9 quadruple in box 4. So those are not 6 and 7. That's not 3 because of the 2, 3 pair here. And that means I've got to put 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s and 5s into those squares. And Mark will be licking his lips at the thought that I'm going to pencil mark that. I might not pencil mark. Oh, maybe I should though. That square is restricted. That's only 1, 4 or 5, isn't it? Because it sees a 2, 3 pair. So 2 in this box has to be in one of those two cells, I think. And 1 has to be in one of those two because of the given one. Yes, I used it. So this is a 6, 7, 8, 9 quadruple. The 8 is in there, the 9 is in here. And this depends on how big... Oh, this is beautiful. It's absolute. The logic around, well, it's this whole sequence actually. I'm just going to highlight a whole load of cells here. It's the logic around all of these cells is absolutely breathtaking. And because what do we know is in yellow? We know yellow has a 4 in it because we know that this line contains 2, 3 and 4. Well, if this line has a 4 in it, because we've worked out that yellow, these two digits are the same as these two digits, there's a 4 in one of those cells. Whoops, I didn't mean to make that green. Now that 4-iness here sees that square and makes this a 5. So this digit is one of the most magnificent digits you'll ever find in a Sudoku. Because let's just think about how this digit has been restricted to being 5. It's been restricted to being 5. Firstly, it was on a Renban that contained an 8 and not a 9. So we knew it had to be 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 or 3. We did some lovely logic with this line and this line to get this 2, 3 pair. That knocked the 3 out of this cell. Then we did the logic with the geometry on the yellows to knock the 4 out of this cell. And then there was a 6, 7, 8, 9 quadruple in box 4 to get rid of the other options. So this is a quite magnificent digit. Or it's a cell that has benefited from some extraordinary trickery on the part of Tirganus. And now 5, oh, this is lovely. Because now 5 comes out of here, this becomes a 4, 6 pair, and that fixes the total. So now we know that this is 15, which means I need 7 and 8, not 6 and 8 here. And if this is 7 and 8, that one becomes 6 and 9. And if that becomes 6 and 9, this becomes 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So we can get rid of the 6, which means we now know the 6 lives with the 8 here, and that puts 7 in the corner, which should have a song, really. Good grief. There's a 4 looking at this cell, which I think now has to be a 1 by Sudoku, so there's no 1 here, apart from me. Now that's not a 5 anymore, is it? Oh, I see. 6, yes, 6 comes out of all of those cells, because we know the 6 on the Renban is over here, and indeed the 6 in the box is over here. Let's get rid of the 4 pencil marks. This is a 5, 7, 8, 9 quadruple. The other things we can do are therefore, we know that's a 6 and an 8. Oh, of course, right, look, I've now got 5 and 6 on this rem band, so I can take 5 and 6 out of these cells. So there's a 7 in one of those two cells, which means there's a 7 by Sudoku in one of these cells. It means that 4 and 6 are looking at that cell, so that's a 9, that's a 6, that's a 6, that's a 4, that's a 3, it's bounced back over here again. 3 then comes out of these cells by Renban logic. 4 comes out of this cell by magic, pure magic, Tigana's magic. 4 is looking at this 4-7 pair, so that gets resolved. What is going on here? This is ridiculous. Now, there's a 4 in one of those two, because we can't put the 4 in orange. That can't be 3 anymore by orange logic. That can't be 1 by orange logic. That can't be 3 or 5 by, well, not by orange logic, but by Sudoku. Outrageous being made to do Sudoku in a Sudoku. This box has not had... It's not had 2 and 4 in it, so that's 4. That's 2. So 4 comes out of there, and 2 comes out of here. So 2 is vertical in column 1. That means that cell's not a 2. And that means we can get rid of the 8 corner pencil mark here, look. Can I resolve this somehow? I feel like all sorts of, there's such a flurry of activity in this top left that I might be missing all sorts of things, like that cell can't be a 9, I'm finally noticing. So now that cell's a 7 or an 8 by Sudoku. This is a 7-8 pair. Yeah, so this 7-8 pair means that's not 7 or 8, which means this is 5-9, which means that this, oh I see, that's a 7-8 pair. So that's not able to be 8. Which feels important. In row 6, we haven't put 1s, 2s and 3s in, so we must do that. That can't be a 2, and that's on a Renban. And these digits have got to be 5, 7, 8 and 9. So there's definitely tension between this domino here, because if that's 9, that simply cannot be 1. It's not a 9-cell Renban, it's only a 7-cell Renban. And if that's a 1, if this is a 1, that can't be 8 or 9, so that would have to be 5 or 7, which is potentially important. Okie dokie, so what does this mean? 2 can't go there anymore by Sudoku. So this has become very restricted. And now, right, and this is where the roping matters. This is where the roping matters, because how could that be 3? Oh, this is it's just beautiful. Now, if this is 3, this equal sum line here has a sum of either 4 or 5. But how does that ever work down here? Because if this is 3 and 1 making 4, this is 3 and 1 making 4, but the roping isn't working, because we'd have a 3 and 1 in green and a 3 and 1 in orange, which cannot be true by logic from what we did earlier. Now, if this is a 3 and a 2, this has to add up to 5, but we can't use 1 and 4 because this cell is it can't be either of those things. So this would have to be a 2-3 pair, and we get the same problem. You get a 2-3 here. I don't know if we know the order of that 2-3, but it would be a 2-3 here. And this 2-3 is saying there's a 2-3 in green, and that would lead to far too many 2s and 3s in box 7. So this square is a 9, and that means those two squares are not 9. It means that 9 is now R. 9 is in orange. But maybe we don't know. Oh, and 9, right, 9 is not on this Renban anymore, which has got 8 on it. So this Renban, we know it. And yes, I will pencil mark that. So it's got to have 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3 because it's a 6-cell Renban. We know the 8 is in one of those two cells somehow. I don't know how I know that. How did I know that? Oh, from the given 8. And I see it. And there's a 7-8 pair knocking an 8 out of that cell. Right, so that's why I've got this corner pencil mark here. So these cannot be 8. Now, we might be able to do better than that. 3 and 5 are looking at that cell. Not a lot seems to be looking at this cell, annoyingly. What about that one? 4 and 6 are looking at that one, and 7. So that one's only able to be 3 or 5. Is that somehow hugely important? Might be. I don't know. I mean, if it's... I'm not actually sure. I'm not sure how to think about that. What about this square? That can't be 4, 6, or 7. This cell can't be 4. Actually, it's not going very well, this, is it? That can't be 7 because of the 7-8 pair. So although I know what these lines are, and I've got to remember as well that I've got to rope everything. So whatever this turns out to be has to repeat down here. I don't quite know how we resolve that. Oh, I do know how we resolve it. Oh, it's so good. This is so good. Right, what's that digit? It's not 3, because we've just proved there's a 3 on this line. And if that's a 3, it sees every single cell on the Renban. That's beautiful. So that's 1, that's 2. Which means that... Oh, there's a 1 there in box 1, I think. Which I'm sure is doing... Right, so there's a 4 in this domino now, which means that's not 4. Whoops, that's not 4. Okay, so this is adding up to 11 now. So these two squares... Well, they can't, again, they can't be 2, 9, can they? Because if this was 2, 9, again, the roping would be broken. So they can't be 2, 9, they can't be 3, 8, they can't be 4, 7, because there's 4, 7 looking at that. So this is 5, 6, and there's a 6 here. So this is 6, this is 5. 5 comes out of all of those squares. 6 comes out of these two. Have I got a triple? No. Nearly, but not quite, because if I had a triple, I would know what those 3 digits are. But I might be able to construct a triple along this Renban. Let me look at that. No. Okay, I can't do that. I can see... Well, we now know there's a 5 and a 6 in green, so there must be a 5 and a 6 in those two, in the 2 of these 3 cells. Okay, that might not matter. Oh, bobbins. Right. There's a 6 in one of those by Sudoku. There is... Well, these squares, I suppose, yeah, okay, these 2 squares are restricted because the only options for these 2 squares are the options for the grey squares here that are not 8. So we're looking at 3s, 4s and 7s into these squares. And that square can't be a 3. And that square can't be a 4. Has that done it? I don't think it has. Okay, there might be a bit of shrieking going on outside. It's just children noise, so don't worry. There's nothing nefarious going on. Okay. Oh, I thought that was going to do it, but it's not done it, has it? Oh, although, I suppose I know this is 1, 2, 9 now, so I can take 3 out of these squares. So this is 1, 2, 9. That's not 1. So this is 1, 2, 9. So there has to be a 2, look, on the Renban here. So there can't be a 9 on it. That's right, isn't it? It's as simple as that. These two squares on this Renban are only selectable from 1, 2 and 9. Well, if I put a 2 on here, it's a 7-cell Renban, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is as high as you can get. So this cannot be a 2-9 pair, it must be a 2-1 pair, which puts 9 in the corner, which means that cell is not 9. It means... well, I tell you what it does mean. Oh, this is gorgeous. It gets me that digit. This puzzle is so beautiful. I cannot tell you. Look, there's a 1-2 pair now on this Renban. Well, we can't repeat a digit, so that's now got to be a 3. And now, because I know there's 1, 2 and 3 on the Renban, I know the other digits must be 4, 5, 6 and 7, so this can't be an 8. This can't be an 8, because we must be selecting from just 4, 5, 6 and 7. That means that... what's that digit? That digit is... oh, no, it's 3 or 4. Okay, bobbins. There's a 7 looking at it. Oh, this is big, though. Okay, this is big, because if this is a 3 or a 4, there's a 3-4 pair here, and that's got to be an 8. So that's got to be a 7. Which means... well, it means we've already had the 7 on the Renban now, so I can delete 7s from these squares. 3, 4... so now, because this is a 3 or a 4, there must be a 5 and a 6 up here, so that square can't be a 5 or a 6. So this is 4, 7, that's 5, 7, and these squares are... though those squares are not 7 apparently. Okay, they're not 7. So these are from 4, 5 and 6. One of them must be a 6, because there must be a 6 on this Renban, so that is not a 6. Oh, obvious, right. Okay, where's 7 on this Renban? And the answer is I don't know, but it's definitely one of those squares. That makes that square an 8, which makes that an 8, that a 7. Removes 8s as options from these cells. 7, 8... it's still resisting. Stop resisting now. Come on, you're beaten. You're beaten, puzzle. Admit it. We shall, instead of shouting at the puzzle, come on, brain, do something clever. Brain is letting me down. I'm trying to speak in order to buy time for brain to work, but brain isn't... oh, I've got a 1-2 deadly pattern there. Oh, that'll be resolved by this digit, look. Because this equal sum lines will have an impact on the value of this cell, which will be able to differentiate a pattern that would otherwise be, or lead to 2 solutions. I see. Right. Okay, well, we've got to have a 9 here. If there's no 9 in this domino, this would be a 1-2 pair. And that would mean this would have to be a 1-2 pair. And it can't be, because we've already got 1, 2 in box 9. So there must be a 9 in that domino, which means that's not a 9. It means that... that's not a 5. Oh, no, hang on, this is important. Right, the total here is either 9 plus 1 is 10 or 9 plus 2 is 11. So how does this work? That's got to add up to 10 or 11. That can't be 7 even. It won't get high enough, so that's got to be 9. And that's strange, actually, now I think about it, because... well, let me actually just pencil mark some 9s up there, but that means that that digit is the same as one of these 2 digits. Because there's a 9 on in both of these dominoes, and they must sum to the same total. Whatever that is must be mimicked in one of those 2 cells. But I don't... can I use that somehow Sudoku-wise? I think if I knew which one, I might be able to. These 2 digits have to add up to at least 10 now. Does that matter? There's a 3-4 pair vertically here. I'm stuck. Okay. What can we do next? We know that... Well, actually, look, we know grey has 8 and 7 in it. Does that mean that's a... No, it doesn't mean that's necessarily a 7. Okay, I'm getting stuck now. I'm not unsure about what to do. Let's look at these digits, I think, in box 9. That cell's got to be 3, 4, 5 or 6. Now, is there anything I can eliminate from that? The answer is... I don't think so. It might be. Maybe I can, using the fact... Yes, I can. Actually, there is, if I use this Renban, isn't there? Because there must be a 4 and a 6... on this Renban, and the 4 and the 6 must be in box 9. They're in those cells. So that cell is restricted. That can only be 3 or 5. Okay, so now maybe we work on this domino, which we know adds up to either 10 or 11. So if it was 10, this would have to be a 7. Is that possible? Absolutely. Okay. Whereas if it was 11, this can't be 6. Yeah, I think there is a restriction here. So, if this is adding up to 10, then we obviously can't go double 5, so this would have to be 7. And I think that's fine. I'm not immediately seeing why that isn't fine. There may be a reason, but I don't know what it is. 7 in grey is very likely, isn't it? Now, if on the other hand this is adding up to 11, this could be 8. That seems to be possible. But this can't be 5 and 6 going together, because the 6 we know is... Oh, so this is always 3. Hang on. Yes, that's the point, isn't it? That's the point. This is always a 3. 5. Yes, okay, the simple way to think about this is to say we know these two cells add up to 10 or 11. How could this ever be a 5? If it's a 5, we'd have to put double 5 or 6, and neither of those is a possible digit, because we need a 6 on this Renban line, and it's got to be in one of, well, in fact, in one of those two cells. So it can't be there, even despite that corner pencil mark. So that tells us this is a 3, and that's going to give me a 3 and a 4 here. And now I've got my roping to rely on. I've got 8, 7, 4 here. So that's got to be the 4. That's got to be the 7. This has got to be 8, 7, 4. Let's just fill that in. 4, 7, 8. So there's no 4 down here anymore. So this has become 5 and 6. That feeds its way up the Renban to that square, which can't be now. We have 5. So that's 7. That's 4. Oh, that's still not resolved. 7 and 3 give 10, 8 and 3 give 11. Okay, that's just mean. Now we've got 3, 5, 6 here. Yes, that's still useful. There's no... This is done. That's 6. This is 3, 5. That 6 comes up the top of the grid. 6 goes here. That goes 8. That becomes 8. That becomes 7. How does that feed through the world? Does that do more magic? That's a 5 now by the magic of Sudoku. That's a 5. That's a 6. That's a 6. That's a 4. This is gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. What are those squares? 1 and 6. The 6 here means that's a 6. That's a 1. That's pushed the 7 onto this. Oh, that's very beautiful. That's just pushed the 7 onto this Renban. It's a 4-cell Renban, so if it's got a 7 on it, it's got a 6 on it. And where are we putting that? It's not there. It's not here. That's a 6. So this has got 7 and 6 on it. Now, what else can we do? We've got this strange deadly pattern. Is that... No, that's not going to be resolved until I know either what this total is, or what this total is, or what this total is. What about this cell then? 1, 2, 5 and 9 in this. Oh, yes. Okay, let's look at this column. 1s, 2s, 5s and 9s. And that little cell can't be 1 or 9. But that little cell... No, this isn't a Renban, so it can be 1. This is 2 or 5. Oh, 8. Where does 8 go in this box? By Sudoku. It's got to go there. That might have been there for ages. Okay, so these cells are restricted now because we know one of them is a 7 because it's a Renban. So the other digit is a 5 or a 9. So these cells are from 5, 7 and 9. That's not 9 and that's not 5. 8 is in one of those two cells. Oh dear, that's very annoying. I can't see how to resolve that. I feel that it's probably Sudoku that's letting me down here, but I can't see how to do it. Okay, 3, 4, 5 and 9 across the top. Ah, yeah. That cell's only 3 or 9 by Sudoku. That cell's only 4 or 5 by Sudoku. It's so close to cracking. It just won't roll over and let us tickle its tummy. Oh, what about those? That's a 3, 9 as well, isn't it? This row, I'm just coming back to this row. It's 3, 4, 5 or 9. That square can't be 4 or 5. That's got to be 3 or 9. I got the same thing there. So this must be a 4, 5 pair, which means that's not able to be a 3. Which doesn't do anything at all. What am I missing? It'll be Sudoku, won't it? 1, 2. This is 1, 2, 3, or 9. But all of those options seem to be possible. 1, 2, 3, or 9. I'm going to end up with a fully pencil mark grid here. Can I do anything better than that? That square is 2, 3. It is. It's 2, 3, 5, or 9. Everything seems to be possible here. Okay, we're going to do it. We're going to go full pencil marking. 2, 3, 5 and 8 into these squares. 2, 3, 5, 8. Now, that is not 3. That is not 5. Neither of them can be 2 because we've got these 2's here and there's a 2 there, which I've only just noticed. So this is quite restricted, isn't it? Oh, in fact, look, we know the total of this line within, well, it's binary. It's either 5 and 8 or 3 and 8 along with the 1. So it's either adding up to 12 or 14, which means this needs to add up to 12 or 14. That's quite interesting. How can there not be a 9 on this line? If there's no 9 on this line, the highest digits we seem to have left are 5s, 3s and 2s, which only add up to 10. So there is a 9 on this line, which means that cell's a 7. There we go. That's a 5. That's a 4. That's a 5. That's a 5. That's a 3. That's a 4. So these two squares have become a 2, 3 pair. This Renban is now working. That's got to be an 8, so that's a 3. That's a 9. That's a 3. So now do we have what we need? We can get rid of 5s from those squares. And this is 1, 2 and 9, which add up to 12. And that's 8, 3 and 1, which add up to 12. So it's working. Lovely. So that's 5. That's 5. That's 9. That is not 9. We know there's a 9 in this domino. So that's, whoa. Highlighting all sorts of things. That's 9, that's 2, that's 3, that's 2. This is a 1, 9 pair, which is resolved. 9, 1. That gets me the 2 here. So this now adds up to 11. We know that's the same digit. This must add up to 11. So that's 8, that's 7, which I've just seen I could have done from up there, but I did it in a far more flamboyant way. That's a 2 and that's a 3. And that might be the puzzle solved. Let's click tick. Yay! That was quite magnificent. What a beautiful slice of wild berry Pop-Tart we have just been fed by a magnificent setter. Tirganus strutting his stuff and flexing like crazy with mad skills, especially in this top left region. All of this was just beautiful. This red digit, which is still being awarded the mantle of red, which of course is the best colour, is sensational. The way this gets sort of reduced down to being a 5 was quite a difficult puzzle though. 55 minutes, so I certainly haven't sailed through it. But I did love it. I hope you did too. Let me know in the comments. I do enjoy them, especially when they're kind, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.